On March 11th, the Joint Standing Committee on Health and Human Services heard testimony in regards to LD 1811. That's the bill that controls the use of medical marijuana. Though all of the testimony favored the use of medical marijuana, there was disagreement as to how patients would receive their needed treatment. Some of the problems LD 1811 presented were that first, the allowable quantity was insufficient to provide a constant supply to patients without exposing growers and providers to the danger of being a criminal. Second, there was too much wiggle room for towns and cities to prohibit their own citizens' access to the herb. Third, the extreme regulations make it difficult to cultivate marijuana outdoors where many believe it should be grown. And fourth, a mandatory requirement for an ID card which patients must bear was never in the original Citizens Initiative that was passed in 1999 allowing medical marijuana use. Many at the hearing felt that the excessive restrictions on medical marijuana would make it difficult to impossible for patients in need of marijuana treatment to get that treatment. Don Christian, a longtime cannabis grower, user, and provider, demonstrated the harvest process of marijuana and the difficulty presented by LD 1811 in complying with the law. It might be noted that a few years ago, Don lit up a joint on the courthouse steps to get arrested so that he might challenge the marijuana laws that existed then.
You have to start with little babies, of course, and then have some halfway up, and then some at this size, and then some at the bud size, in order to have a good rotation and keep things going on about a 12-week cycle. And in nature, just like nature, the lights are less in the fall, and with indoor growing you turn the lights back with a timer, and from 18 hours or 16 hours of daylight, which is normal for a vegetative stage, you turn it back to 12 hours, which will make the plants flower. This is in the latter stages of the flowering or the bud stage, which is actually what the marijuana is. When it's in the leaf stage, it's just a plant. There's no marijuana. This is the marijuana. So when it's in a vegetative stage, there really is no marijuana. It's just the leaf of the plant that helps the plant grow to produce the flowers, just like any other plant or vegetable. These are going to be clipped today. This is my medical marijuana garden. I'm ready to harvest my plants at this point, and I'd like to show a little bit about it. These tops here are ready to harvest. Down here the bottom of the plant is not, so it's all in stages, and it'll probably take 12 weeks to harvest this plant. But right now I need to harvest what's ready to go, and what's ready to go is a lot more than I'm going to be able to cut off here legally by law at the 2.5 ounce mark that the law has given us. That needs to be changed.
Because the law only allows you 2.5 ounces, you can't harvest the whole plant at once. Is this correct?
That's right. I'm going to be able to harvest this top here, this one here, and this one here. Maybe a few of the weighted branches. As you see, they're just so heavy they won't stand up. Some of those I'll take off if I can, depending on how much weight I have. I have a scales here that I'm going to have to weigh each bud individually in order to know how much marijuana is on it. If it weighs 30 grams, you'll have 10 grams or less when you're done with it, depending on the type of marijuana. With this, it's about 1/3 water with this plant. I've been working with it for quite some time now.
What would happen to the buds on the bottom end, say, if you went too long?
Well, they start to lose medicinal qualities, potency, however you want to say it, and they actually start to go by, and if left too long, a couple 3 weeks even could make a difference here, and this could start to rot on me. The hairs on this, if the camera can show the hairs, are turning brown. Some of the white hairs, it means it's still growing, but when you get the brown hairs, it means it's reached its maturity and it's time to cut. Person who's not versed with growing of marijuana, they're not going to have an idea of what to do. and they'll become a criminal, and that's not the intent of this law. We want the people to be able to use this product that need it. And the way the law is now, it's virtually impossible. This here is the first top. I'll weigh it so I know what's going on, and I can look at the rest of them and see in size. I can guesstimate, and then I'll weigh everything later. All right, this is approximately 20 grams here, so this would probably be somewhere around 7 grams when it's dry.
Placards like the one on display have to be present at any location where medical marijuana is grown, and it must be signed by the patient who's going to use that marijuana.
There's 28 grams in an ounce. But the normal person is not going to know what they're doing and how to do this. This is probably, there's a little touch in it, you know, that's off the scale. So it's probably about 35 grams here, this one bud. That is coming out to be an ounce and a half right there. So you see that these really do need to go also. This little one here probably could stay, but this bigger one needs to go. What I have a problem here is that these ones here are so weighted down that they're going to break the branches on it. So these are the next ones that I have to take. So I will. And the top of that, this one here, this one here, this one here, this one here, the whole top's on that. And all the tops on this one here that are brown need to come off. See, the weight of this is just bringing these down. As you can see, I've hardly touched the plants, and this marijuana has a potential. If this lasts me for 2 weeks, then this has a potential to all be no good, or very less potent. Let's put it that way. If I can't harvest these plants at the most potent time, there's something wrong with this system. And the people voted to have a good system, or at least they're trying to improve it each time they vote in medical marijuana. And the intent of the law is that the people be able to use this product. And if we can't harvest it, or it loses potency on us, or rots on us, there's a number of different things. That's not the voters' intent, and I don't think the spirit of the law should allow this type of action. They need to change the law so that the people are not going to be criminals and that they can harvest their marijuana. The marijuana is already here. They must trust us with it. So why not let us harvest it too? If you let your strawberries go by, they rot. You know, or any other fruit for that matter, they rot. Your beans get spots on them, or anything else. They consider this marijuana. The bean plant has leaves too, but it's not beans. This is the marijuana. You cut all this junk off. You throw that away. It's not marijuana. The leaf of the plant is not the marijuana. It just helps the plant to grow. But they'll charge you with that if they busted you. And I would like to see this be the norm for every medical patient, to be able to have their own garden, one little light, and have their medicine for what it costs, excuse me, an electric bill, rather than go to a dispensary or some other person who's selling the weed for $200 or $300, $400 for an ounce of this stuff. When you could have it for almost free if you have your own little gardens at home.
I think the bill includes a mandatory ID card or something like that. Is that a good idea?
The mandatory ID card is something that will stop a lot of patients from getting involved in the system, because they don't want people to know that they use marijuana, whether it's legal or not. They have too many problems with the workforce being, fired for people smoking marijuana, whether it's medicine or not, or just the stigma of smoking marijuana in a neighborhood could lead to problems for some people. So people are, you know, still hiding in their closets, and a lot of people, you know, don't want to be known. So, you know, a lot of people that could benefit from this are not going to, because they don't want people to know who they are. So the ID card system, you know, is okay if it's a non-mandatory thing. If you get a prescription from your doctor or a recommendation for marijuana from your doctor, it's between you and your doctor, and nobody else wants you to give up patient-doctor confidentiality on any other subject except for this marijuana issue. And this is crazy. If they're going to have OxyContins and not have, you know, this kind of problem.
Don shows just some of the paperwork required to become a marijuana caregiver.
This is what he appointed me as his caregiver for. This is the paperwork we came up with for that. Mm-hmm. So this fellow appointed me as caregiver. This was in like 2001 or whatever it was. So I've been working with this guy for a long time. And that's the paperwork you need in one in court, so that anybody could utilize that paperwork for an appointment. And this is his doctor's statement at first, and then he went with the new one that we have now. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what they do. They go to this town and have it notarized. Yep. So that it's a legal document. It's not just a piece of paper. Now it's a legal document. And they're trying to say that that's not proper authorization. Give me a break.
Vivacious. She reveled in every moment of being alive, from picking strawberries to a basic car ride. She always found life in every moment. Until the cancer came. Pain and the side effects of pain medication put a stop to Kirsten's vivaciousness. She dreaded making the pain go away, because every medicine the doctors prescribed either made her a zombie or gave her nightmarish hallucinations. All of the prescribed medications she received made her nauseous. At her cancer weight of 98 pounds, nausea was something that Kirsten could not afford. Fortunately, Kirsten lived in the progressive state of California. Fortunately, one might think, given California's medical marijuana laws. The trouble was that by the time Kirsten received her medical marijuana card, she was paralyzed.